Hi there, Jennifer Elizabeth Masters here. So I want to talk to you today about a subject that is very near and dear to my heart, people pleasing, and why we don't want to do people pleasing. It sounds like a lovely, loving thing to do. Well, on the surface, it would appear that it is. But actually, people pleasing has a dark side, a really shadowy side. And you know, we are humans, so we do have a shadowy side and a light side. And coming to terms with all of who we are, lovingly accepting ourselves, is the key to a blissful and happy life. So the sooner that we can please ourselves instead of making everyone else happy, the faster that we get to that happy place. And isn't that what it's all about, right? That's what life is meant to be, happy. And it is what, it's in our Constitution, it's our inalienable right. So we have the right to happiness, but oftentimes we are looking for happiness backwards. Hi, Lindsay, how are you? So a lot of times what we're doing is we're thinking that we're doing a good thing by being a doormat, putting our needs aside. And that's an element of people pleasing, that we want to make other people happy. So in the process of making others happy, I want to take this in for a second. In the process of making others happy, can we really do that? Well, no, not if we're really honest with ourselves. Nobody can make anyone happy. We have to make ourselves happy. But for a lot of our lives, we are looking for something from someone else. That's why we do these things. This is why we turn ourselves inside out. Won't you like me? Aren't I pretty? Do you like my dress? You know, we dress to please other people. We often are doing things to please other people. And in the long run, what we do is we make ourselves miserable. So we're going to talk about the shadowy side, just as a crow flies over, the shadowy side of people pleasing. So if we are people pleasing, what we're doing is suppressing our needs, making us less important. That's the first thing. We don't count. You're more important than me. So we might give up our workout. We might give up our diet. We might give up our healthy lifestyle and do what maybe the person that we're dating, do what they do. We might adopt their lifestyle and put ours aside. And what do you think might happen after 6 months or a year of putting your needs aside and living someone else's life? What will happen? Well, there's a couple of things, and none of them are really good. One is, the first one, that we might become resentful. The second one is, along with resentment, is anger. And then the third one, which is the really big one, is that when we are suppressing our needs, making us less significant, the very thing that we are here for, which is significance, is not being met. We're invalidating ourselves and our needs and making what someone else wants and needs way more important. And then we don't feel good. We don't feel happy. We don't feel fully alive. We are making ourselves a doormat. And we need a doormat-ectomy. And that's a surgery that you could live without. So we're going to take this one step at a time. I have an article I wrote here that I just want to go over a little bit of it. So we want everybody around us to be happy. That's why we try to please them, right? We want our kids to be happy, our partners to be happy, our families, our parents to be happy. And so that's why we do this. It's nice to have other people happy, but at whose expense? So it's a negative, self-sabotaging activity. And what does it do? It steals your joy. So while we're in the process, hello Percy, while we're in the process of making everybody else happy, we are the least happy. So we're suppressing our needs, we're making ourselves a doormat, we're making ourselves unimportant, and then trying to please everybody else. So there's a big disadvantage to trying to please other people. And of course, the other part of that is that when we're trying to make other people happy, we're usually not in integrity. We can't possibly be. Because if someone else's needs don't match ours and we are doing everything that they want and putting aside the things that we want, we're going to be unhappy. Okay. So when we give all we have to others, there's no time for ourselves. We might give up exercise. We might give up our diet, our lifestyle. We might give up our spirituality, our meditation practice. And you know, believe it or not, I can honestly say I've done all of these things. I have done every single one of these things. And so I can speak to all of these issues from a place of wisdom. I've done these things and I know what it feels like. So I want to share a little story with you about one of my clients. So I get guidance when I'm working with people, and I've worked with this woman now it's been 6 years. And she's a lovely lady, lives in the city of Denver with her husband and has 2 beautiful children. And I've done energy work on all of her family, every single one of them. And what does that do? When I do energy work for someone's children, it helps raise their vibration. It helps them work through issues that they may be going through, can alleviate addictions, depression. A lot of things can be done through an energy clearing remotely for someone else. And so anyways, she was doing Christmas at her home in Denver, where family would come to visit her from out of town. And she had Christmas at her house for 18 years. Now, as I said earlier, I've worked with her for 6 years. I knew her really well. She had complained to me multiple times about Christmas. Her sister would assume that Christmas was happening at their house and not even ask, would just go ahead and buy her plane ticket. Now, you can't blame her sister for going ahead and buying a plane ticket because my client never said, I don't want to have Christmas. So this past year, the year just gone by, 2018, early in the year, I addressed this subject with her. I said, I think that it would be a really good idea if you don't want to have Christmas to let everybody know early in the year. Give them at least 6 months notice, if not more. But she did not want to. Why? Because she's a people pleaser and she wanted her family to be happy. She didn't want to make an unpopular decision. So by suppressing her needs, she diminished her own self-worth, put her sister's needs ahead of hers, her mother's needs ahead of hers, her niece and nephew and all the other people that were going to be involved, put all their needs ahead of her own. She didn't speak her truth. She didn't speak up. They didn't know. We can't expect. We can be mind readers. We can, but we can't expect other people to know what is in our mind and in our heart. we need to communicate. That is what this is for. So the throat chakra, I'm going to talk about that a little bit. The throat chakra is not just about speaking, it's also about listening. So if your throat chakra is blocked, you may have a hard time listening. You may be the one that has to be the center of attention, the one with your hand up all the time in class. You've got to speak out. You need to be noticed and heard, or, could have something to do with something in childhood. Usually does. So the throat chakra is very important in our communication. It's a two-way street. We speak our truth, but we also have to listen to what other people say as well. So back to my client, she did not speak her truth. She didn't let her family know. And before long, when she did say something about Christmas, her sister said, and this was in July, "I've already bought my airline ticket." So already 6 months ahead of Christmas, she starts worrying about, oh my goodness, I don't want to have Christmas, and now everybody's coming, and this is going to happen, and they're going to be skiing. And so this big mountain of grief and drama was created because she did not say to her family members, I'd like to do something different this Christmas. Could we maybe go to Mexico, or could we change it up? Could you do Christmas, sister, this year instead of me, since I've been doing it for 18 years? But she didn't do that. So you can't blame other people when we don't speak and we don't have boundaries. We can't blame others for not knowing, right? Especially if it's always been that way. So Christmas came, needless to say, she had her panties in a twist. She was upset the entire holiday. Her nephew brought his student friends from college. They used her mother's condo in a ski resort and left it a mess. All these things that could have been avoided by a conversation or a little note saying, let's do something different for Christmas this year. So, bottom line and the moral of the story, if you want to be happier, it's a lot more powerful for you to speak your truth. Tell people what you would like, rather than suppressing your needs and not letting your wishes be known to other people. Because if you don't, you might end up with your whole family at your home for Christmas, like my client did when she didn't want them. Okay, so there's a few other things I wanted to talk about. So there's a dark side. So poor personal boundaries are the core of this issue. We have to have good personal boundaries. We need to speak our truth. We need to talk about what we want. And when we care for everyone else's needs more than we care for our own, we're putting ourselves in second, third, and fourth place. We're making ourselves unimportant, which will eventually lead to resentment and anger and possibly gallbladder issues. Gallbladder is about resentment. We don't want that, right? No, we don't want stinking resentment. It's not a great emotion to have or hang on to. So we make ourselves insignificant when significance is actually one of the prime reasons for being as a human. We want to be significant. We talk about the significant other. Well, we want to be significant. We want to be recognized for our worth. We want to be recognized for our gifts. We want other people to validate us. Again, looking outside of ourselves for the things that we need to give to ourselves. We need to learn to take care of ourselves. So you may not know how to do that. I didn't for the longest time. And that's what I help you do. All right, let's see. So the other thing that can happen is that we tend to critique other people for what they do. Okay, I'm just reading this comment here. I will call bullshit on that one, Carrie Lynn. I will say dysfunctional families don't have boundaries. That's the truth. Boundaries are something we as humans need to have. Dysfunctional families don't have boundaries. And I can attest to that, coming from one myself. Hello, Pat. How are you? Boundaries are very important for us no matter where we are, whether we're out in the world or whether we're interacting with our children. We need boundaries with our kids. For example, let me just say I had a client whose child used to put his hand down her shirt and squeeze her nipple. She'd be walking around. He was 3, 4 years old. She'd be walking around. He'd be squeezing her nipple. Now that is a woman without a boundary. So there's number one. You've got to have boundaries with your kids and your parents. Absolutely. So let me talk about a family without boundaries. I was staying at my mother's home. I was married, had been married for some time. And my husband and I were in the throes of making love one morning. My mother comes, bang, bang, bang on the door and opens the door and walks in. That's a woman without boundaries. We need boundaries. When a door is closed, you don't enter. You don't knock and enter. That's what happens when you don't have boundaries. True story. All right, so there's more. And, you know, here's the thing. Your mom freaking out, she wants things to be the way they always have been. But just because things have always been that way does not make them healthy or good. Right? I want to reiterate, this is really important. So just because things have always been done a certain way doesn't make them right. In my family, as you've already seen, my mother did not have boundaries. She read my diary. She did a lot of very inappropriate things. A lot of very inappropriate things. Grabbed neighbors' boobs, you know. Oh, look, you know, no boundaries. So, again, Carrie Lynn, we need to have boundaries. It is for our personal health, our personal well-being. It's for our personal self-esteem. If your mother feels like, you know, that's freaking her out, well, I would just put distance because, you know, it's healthy to have boundaries. Okay. And then, of course, there's the idea that, you know, if we feel like we need to be perfect, you know, that I used to do that. You know, everything that I talk about, these are all things that I've done. I used to try my best to be perfect. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. We are, you know, wonderful in our uniqueness. Everybody is unique, but we're not perfect. There are things that we're constantly working on. We are healing and growing, and we will continue to do so till we die and even after that. So we're works in progress. We are not perfect. We are working on ourselves on a continual basis. I'll be the first one to tell you I am far from perfect. Ask my kids. Okay. Okay. So then here's the other thing, is that if somebody is trying to help out, what we might do is critique those people that try to help us. You're not doing it the right way. We might want to control what it is they are doing. And when we try to control what others are doing, it has to be done a certain way. That's that perfectionistic thinking again, that nobody can do it as well as us, and so therefore we have to do everything. And it's not possible. It's not possible for us to do everything. Hello, Kelsey. Nice to see you. Okay, we're talking about a lot of things, but we're talking about mostly people pleasing and how it is a shadowy and dark behavior. It comes from perfectionistic thinking. It comes from looking outside of ourselves for validation and love and trying to make everyone happy by people pleasing. And then we suppress our needs. We put ourselves in second, third, or fourth place, putting everyone else's needs as more significant and important than ours, which reduces us and the way we feel about ourselves. And the bottom line is, it is not selfish to take care of you. It is healthy. It's healthy to take care of you and your own needs. And it is healthy to have personal boundaries. So I'm going to address this boundary issue one more time, because not only is it important to have boundaries with our children, with our parents, but also with our partners and spouses. You know, just because we're in relationship with them does not give them the right it doesn't give them the right to do, make us or have us do things we don't want to do, or have us do things that we're uncomfortable doing. You know, it could be, there's a lot of different things. Maybe you have a partner that wants you to watch porn with them and you don't want to. And it's okay to say no. It's also okay to say, I want nothing to do with porn. It doesn't, I think it's dark. I don't want to do that. I think it's addictive. I don't want any part of that. So healthy boundaries are really important. Okay, so what's the root cause of people pleasing? Does anybody know? Where does it come from? Where does it come from? Any idea? So, we try really hard to make our parents happy when we're children. It could be, from the time we're 2 or 3. I remember when my baby brother was born. I was very young. I think I was 2 years and 9 months, so not even 3. But I remember I was running all over the house. My mother would say, go get me a diaper, or go get me this, go get me. I would run. I was trying so hard to make my mother happy. But can we make another person happy? Can we? No, we can't. And so all this effort to please other people is so that they'll be happy, when we're not responsible for another's happiness. The only person's happiness we're responsible for is who? Who are we responsible for? There's only one. Now, of course, when your children are little, that's a different story. But as our children grow and become mature, there's only one person that we're responsible for. Yes, absolutely, it comes from unworthiness, this trying to please other people. We are so trying to be, we're looking for validation. We're looking for someone to love us. We're wanting someone to give love to us because we don't feel worthy, because we don't feel enough. And so this self-love piece is this taking care of you. It's getting to know you. It's lovingly accepting you the way you are without being different. So maybe some behaviors, you may want to manage some behaviors, but it's not about us becoming somebody we're not. It's about really actually sinking in sinking in deeper to who are we? Who are we? And becoming more of that, who we really are. Yep, it comes from unworthiness. It comes from not feeling loved. It's we are looking for love in all the wrong places. We're afraid of being rejected. So we don't want to disappoint anyone else. I remember, and my kids would validate this, I was so afraid that my kids wouldn't love me. That I was that insecure at one time. I was so afraid that my kids wouldn't love me that I didn't want to lay down the law. I didn't want to make unpopular decisions. I was looking for love from my kids, you know, love me, give to me. And here am I supposed to be the loving mom when I didn't feel enough, and I'm looking to be filled with my children's love. So that's, and that is a cycle that has been generational in my family. My mother did the same thing. She was looking for love and acceptance and validation from her kids. Oh, Mom, what a good cook you are. Oh, Mom, what a good housekeeper you are. Oh, Mom, you're the greatest. All of that is looking for love and validation out there. And we have got to give it to us. So this whole big subject of people pleasing and looking for love outside of ourselves, it makes us a doormat. We put aside all our needs. We put aside our self-care. We may even, I've seen many women do this. We may not even pee because we're so busy taking care of everyone else that we don't even stop to urinate. Now, self-care is part of self-love, so we've got to start taking care of ourselves. So, ladies, this is what I'm offering here. I have on my website, I have a self-love quiz. I have a depression quiz. I did both of those, created them myself for you. And I also have several different packages that you can purchase. If you're not quite ready for individualized private coaching, I've got packages already set up there that are very reasonably priced. One as low as $11. But on top of all of that, I'm offering a free discovery session. All you have to do is email me at jenniferelizabethmasters.com, or if you go to my website, jenniferelizabethmasters.com, there is a book with me, little button. You book your discovery session, and it's a free session. And we will sit down and work through a plan to get you on track. So you have to think about, where am I now? Where do I want to be? So for me, a while ago, I was in misery. I was terribly codependent. I was sick. I was depressed. I had tumors. I've had all kinds of health problems. And loving myself, turning the total other direction, meant total self-love and acceptance. Now, am I perfect? I'm still working on myself. We always will be. Another, this upward spiral as we go, there's another layer and another layer and another layer. So what will happen, though, as you get to know yourself and you get to love yourself, your health improves, your life improves, your relationships improve. Hello, my dear Ashley. Thank you. I love you. It's so great to see you. All of you. It's wonderful to see you. So the bottom line is that nobody else can make you happy. And attempting to please others, it puts your significance below the significance of everyone else. And you are significant. And you're the most significant person in your own life. So isn't it time to put you first for a change and see how amazing amazing you and your life can be when you begin to be completely authentic, living in the highest truth of who you are. So do go to my website, jenniferelizabethmasters.com. There are free resources there, but book your discovery session with me now. I'd love to meet with you and help you get a plan together and strategies on what to do next. I love you. Thanks for watching.